Okay.
All right, so we came in the middle of.
Oh, the end.
It's like, all right, at the end of the game. That can happen. That looks like a turn 3 kill through a show and tell.
It happens. It happens. Also, chat.
It does. This is a combo heavy meta. So Karai is on Golgari Belcher. I think that generally the Golgari Belcher deck is a lot faster for a little bit less consistency. But we don't usually see a Golgari build.
Yeah, normally it's the either Orzhov. Normally it's the Orzhov build that we see, but neither one has been incredibly popular recently.
So Karai is running, and so usually the Orzhov build runs the Sorin and sometimes even Necropotence and Glen Elendra Archmage, the 7-mana 4/7 lifelinker. That's really strong. And Karai has forgone all of that for Karn the Great Creator out of the board. I think that generally just makes it much more like there's a lot more reach. There's a lot more that Karai can do with a wish board.
Okay. Yeah, and it definitely is. I will say the Sony Angel Prime does give a bit of a backup that works on a different axis and creates this guessing game. Especially if cards like Field and Pithing Needle. Where do you want to name Charbelcher or do you want to name Sorin?
Yeah, well, Karn itself can we've seen a few games where the combo deck just couldn't answer one of the hate pieces. But with Karn, there's answers for just about everything, and there's hate pieces. And you can. Karn is, as always, an incredibly difficult card to play with because Karn can pick up a Vexing Bauble, or Karn can protect its own combo. Karai can also even just grab the Charbelcher that they need to win the game.
Oh, 100%. And they can just start stone raining their opponent over and over again a taunt.
Yeah, Liquid Metal Karn killing a land every turn is a very painful thing.
Yeah, it's painful to feel too.
Yeah. So Dredgelord is running Bowmasters in his build, which I think is a great idea. It's always a function of how hard do you want to go on the combo in this kind of deck.
So, I don't know if this is one of the hits, but were you able to catch the ones that don't run approach to the second sun?
Oh, so they have, once you have Omniscience in play, I guess it doesn't really matter how you win. And all of those sideboard slots are valuable.
So what they usually use in that case is they fickle, we got to see it on Ice Match around 5. They fickle 2 Bowmasters with a Hullbreaker Horror. And that's their win time.
I like that.
And it looks to be that's what this is trying to do. So they're playing 2 Bowmasters in order to kill and be good against Brainstorm decks.
Yeah, it's great against Brainstorm decks, and it also helps a lot with where these decks tend to struggle, which is against something like Mardu Energy, because Mardu Energy can put down a turn 1 Ragavan and then Thoughtseize you.
Oh, yeah. And getting your things hit by Ragavan or just using the mana advantage in that situation. Especially versus
Here's Dark Ritual. Oh. Yeah, it's huge. Here's Dark Ritual for a turn 2 Karn.
Okay.
Let's see what Karn's getting. This is quite possibly the most important decision of the game.
Could be. Oh, in the what's it called? The Vexing, the Chromox here.
Yeah, so Vexing Bauble is wonderful. If you haven't seen it happen, if one player plays a show and tell, if Dredgelord here plays a show and tell, and Karai puts in a Vexing Bauble, then it essentially turns off the Omniscience. You can play around it by waiting an extra 3 or 4 turns to be able to cast or answer in addition to that.
So sometimes you don't even have to do that. I don't know if this is running it now, but another way to get through Vexing Bubble is Veil of Summer.
Karn is especially strong in this meta because of so many Chromoxes floating around. I don't believe Dredgelord is playing Chromox.
They are not. Most of the show and tell yesterday are not playing Chromox. They're just much more interactive and tutors.
Yeah, Chromox is a very interesting card because it is fast mana. Fast mana is really important. The 2 ways you can make use of that fast mana are by either making sure you are just getting enough speed to justify being down 2 cards to play a land, or by drawing a ton of cards. And often the show and tell card decks just draw enough cards.
And not just that, just Chromox is one of those cards when it got added to the format that everyone was afraid of it. Because like you said, fast mana is scary. It is. So
it looks like Dredgelord is letting the tutor resolve.
I mean, he has 2 mana drains. I don't think there's too much he can fail here. Um, because like they have to be able to spend 4 mana on that Goblin Troll Belcher. So either the only way that they were able to counter it with like a Valor Summer is if they go like Channel or double Dark
Yeah.
Ritual.
Channel's so strong. So
It,
here's a sneaky Bowmasters to pick off this Karn. Great card here.
that's good to hear on the sound.
So Bowmasters, so Karn picked up Vexing Bauble and Goblin Charbelcher. Bowmasters killed it, and now Dredgelord actually has the ability to attack Karai down. Like they are ahead on board.
They do. Um, and also this Troll Belcher really doesn't let them play the show and tell at all, even if they have the combo in hand. He just
Right.
He uses them the game.
So yeah, they can't show and tell and risk Karai putting that Charbelcher in. They have to make sure that they can deal with that. But just having any amount of pressure matters here. Wonder what Karai grabbed off that assemble the team. Could be a second Belcher or just some counter magic for protection.
Could be a second. Yeah, it could be that. It could be. I don't think they're playing. I think they're only playing Veil of Summer. They could. Thoughts. Are they playing any Thoughtseize effects? Could be that too.
That's true. I'll check. It looks like Dredgelord just arrived at the same conclusion we did. Playing show and tell is simply too dangerous. Like it's a pretty instant
Yeah,
loss.
there's the channel. Channel is also one of those.
Dredgelord's list is so cool.
I would take betting money on Veil of Summer being the card they picked up. The Mystic Sanctuary here is cute too.
So Dredgelord tested a lot of different show and tell variants. I was chatting with him before round one, actually, or I guess during round one, because his opponent was the drop.
Okay.
And the card he settled on was Rakshasa's Bargain, which I think is a new tech for the deck.
Yeah, I've seen it a couple times. It's not the most popular version, but it's definitely been seeing play.
It just lets the deck operate on the opponent's end steps so much sooner. Like you're a lot less likely to show and tell on turn 3, but you get to pass with a mana drain mana up and then have something strong to do afterward.
It's also, speaking of mana drain, one of those cards that you can use. Unlike how it looks, you can use mana drain mana for. So like earlier in the event, we saw.
Oh, that's an excellent point.
We saw someone be able to hold up a spell pierce because they were able to use the mana drain mana to pay for the 2 colorless mana for it.
Love that. Yeah, like it is 6 colorless mana. We also is a great card post Omniscience, but one Rakshasa's Bargain is usually enough to enable the Delirium and put an Omniscience in the graveyard for a Shifting Woodland. So it lets them run woodlands, which I've noticed a lot of the shift and tell. Like I've seen less shift and tell, a lot more show and tell.
It's been interesting because woodland does have some cost on, like, especially how many the anti just got Sanctuary you can run. Because you need a good number of ions. How many of those secondary ants can you run? Because you also want to run Misspell that we talked about earlier.
This assemble team put away 2 show and tells, which Dredgelord knows are pretty bad right now. He is really tanking on what should the assemble the team target be.
I think I would either take Bargain or Dig Through Time. Though I
would be the Force of Vigor, but they'll need another green card.
Yeah, they only have 1 green mana right now too.
Trying to go through the library. Force now. Oh.
Okay.
That's a main deck Croson Grip.
No, this is game 2. Is it in there, man?
You're right. That's a sideboard Croson.
We were debating earlier if you brought that in. Because you can go, this frees up your show and tell. Because you get priority first.
A Sigrun, I don't actually know that Karai has any non-Karn board sideboard cards. Let me check. Yeah, 2 Disruptor Flute. There's 2 Force of Vigor in the board and an Abrupt Decay. Everything else is Karn board. And one of the Disruptor Flutes is Karn board. You just bring in the second copy so you can, in case you have to Demonic Tutor for it.
This is
Still leave the first copy in the board. It's very, very well assembled.
this feels weird.
I think Karai is one of the most well equipped to play this style of deck.
I wonder if opponents. I mean, our player was made a mistake here. He just had opponent put his
Yeah?
in play.
That was a known Charbelcher as well.
That can't counter the ability.
They can counter the Atraxa.
Their Atraxa?
Yes, they can counter their Atraxa.
I think our player was right. His mistake.
Yes, it happens.
It does. You make that mistake. It's one of those mistakes you make one time.
Did only deal 35 damage.
Yeah. That's one of those mistakes you make one time and you never forget that mistake.
I think you do want the extra Bowmasters in this matchup, and you probably need Leyline of Sanctity. You don't want to need Leyline of Sanctity. It feels really bad to bring it in.
Mm-hmm.
But just buying that time against Belcher is so valuable.
Oh yeah, 100%. And like, how many answers does Corey have? Not Corey have for this? Because I imagine he's a couple. Don't get me wrong, but
like you have to decide whether you're going for the combo faster, or whether you're going to try and stop your opponent's combo, and that's a difficult decision. Like Abrupt Decay is a good example. Like Abrupt Decay is going for your combo. It hits the Vexing Baubles, it hits the Liquid Metal Coatings, and it looks like he decided to keep one copy. Then any of the counter spells is like I think you need as many counter spells as possible. I'm only surprised I don't see more actual like the card counter spell in sideboard format. I don't think this can be a keep.
So it's really interesting because what card is better? Is counter spell better or is memory apps better?
I think counter spell is better, and it just feels so bad in comparison to Mana Drain. Like, it still answers literally anything.
Yeah. No, it's not a bad card. It's just, that is going to be your fifth copy. Whatever you pick is going to be your fifth copy of Mana Drain.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we see a lot of Spell Pierces.
Yeah. We see Spell Pierces.
So here we have Mana Drain, Omniscience, Teachings, Bargain. We have Mill to Dig Through Time. I think this is a Hammer Dredgelord is just going for it. He's trying to get that third land or in a show and tell.
I mean, he may be dead here.
Yeah, that can happen. Dark Ritual, Belcher. Does Karai have the turn one kill? No.
That's a con. That's still a pretty good turn
Yeah,
one.
but a turn one Karn for Liquid Metal Coating is almost as bad.
I mean, they have the Mana Drain. They were kind of just forced to use
this is
Mana
true.
Drain.
Like a turn two Karn is something that Dredgelord could just answer here. Is there a defense grid in Karai's board?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I feel like it's dangerous, but
you could also throw in the Pithing Needle here, which I think is the fun play.
Yeah. Dredgelord has to decide whether Bobble or Coating needs to be stopped, and I do think that's correct.
Yeah, I don't think
it's Coating that needs to be stopped. If you've never seen this combo before, Liquid Metal Coating says target permanent becomes an artifact on a turn, and Karn pluses in order to make something an artifact into a creature with power and toughness equal mana value. But the lands have a mana value of 0, so Liquid Metal Coating makes the lands into 0/0 creatures, and things get really bad really fast.
And we get to see here where they're going to use the Mana Drain mana for this bargain too.
I love it. Probably digging hard for a Spell Pierce and a Shifting Woodland.
Well, there's a Shifting Woodland. I think you take Shifting. I don't know what your second take is here.
I think I like Shifting, and then even if you're copying the Atraxa, then Bowmaster is not a clean answer for Karn right now.
Yeah. His Karn's going to +1 more than Ike with no targets, if I had to guess.
Empathy, I know you asked this question 5 minutes ago, but yes, there are 2 flutes and a needle in the board. There might not be a needle, actually. I'll check. There is a needle on the board. So for everyone else, Karai's wish board is 2 Disruptor Flutes, 1 Cityscape Leveler, 1 Goblin Charbelcher, that turns each card into the Belcher that they need, 1 Haywire Mite, 1 Liquid Metal Coating, 1 Pithing Needle, one Sky Sovereign console flagship, one Tormod's Crypt, one Torpor Orb, one Vexing Bubble. There's also a Veil of Summer, an Abrupt Decay, and 2 Force of Vigor that are not part of the card board.
I do love con boards. I miss them in Pioneer a bunch because they're so interesting to
Yeah,
play
they
with.
needed to go.
Yeah, we all know. Like Anthony said earlier, I love my unfair decks. Okay, I owned it.
Yeah,
A great example
I
of
get
this
it.
is doing combo nail for chat. I owned every one of the decks that got banned.
The sideboard is missing a few key answers. But like Cityscape Leveler is there as a beater, Sky Sovereign is there as removal. I guess Belcher's the removal. Like removing your opponent is a viable solution.
I'm kind of surprised that Cityscape ever not Meteor going.
I think Cityscape Leveler brings with it the option of looting it away. So like you probably pick up Cityscape Leveler against decks that are stopping you from casting spells.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
So
My brain was going more to when someone show and tells. It's an option you can put in with and threaten that interaction.
That's true. It does take out the Omniscience, but I think you'd rather play the Bobble because if you let ability go on the stack, they can Born Upon the Winning combo out.
That's fair.
This is a tough brainstorm for Dredgelord. So he's got Spell Pierce, Bowmasters, and Teachings. 2 Teachings. Looks like he's putting back Omniscience in the Teachings.
Mm-hmm.
That's the second Omniscience, so that one's not so hard.
Yeah. The 4 value brainstorm. Nether teachings.
I wonder if it was worth casting the brainstorm and then fetching with the brainstorm on the stack. No, there's no way.
No.
Or you want to fetch the Surveil land, then brainstorm with the Surveil on the stack to put the Omniscience into the graveyard. That grants lethal next turn without casting a spell.
That would be fine. It's just I do think that's an awkward line of play. I don't think that's it is better.
So that line of play is something that they could have done on end steps. So like I'm not. It's just an interesting line that this deck can take. Something I appreciate about it. It gets the Omniscience in the graveyard, and that gives Delirium for shifting woodland.
Dredgelord is having some fun with the emotes today.
I do love a nice set of emotes.
I do too.
I'll buy my mug. Yeah, I do think if you're Cry, you only go for this because you have the card in play.
Yeah.
Karn hasn't actually wished for a Belcher yet. Karn gets to wish for a second Belcher right now.
Yeah. Now they can't teachings here. They can't teachings here for another 7 episodes if they have it.
I think they have to get a force of take out the Bobble. But they can go for it. Yeah, you're right about the Spell Pierce. If they have to pierce the Belcher here, then they gotta pierce the Belcher here.
The problem with what's it called? Forcing Bobble is you have to hard cast it. And that's so much mana you have to use on that turn.
Yeah. But like they can do it.
They can.
They did leave an Abrupt Decay in too. That'll work.
Yeah, that's an instant. Yeah, that would also work.
We can grab Abrupt Decay, take out the Bobble.
I wonder if that means they were supposed to play Teachings as a hand dance turn. That way they have Woody and as the untap end this turn. So they can do that on instep.
Yeah, but they might be playing like they need both Teachings. Because if they can take out the Bobble and then get the Omniscience into play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a difference of is their show and tell in hand.
Yeah. They can also Teachings for Veil of Summer too. And that effectively ignores the Bobble.
This is true. I don't know that he left. Might have left only one Veil of Autumn in, or Veil of Summer in. There's the Flute that's going to make it tough.
What's the pink here, I wonder? Oh,
I think Flute is probably just naming the woodland.
Probably. I think that's the biggest threat here. Because they, what's it called? They know the risk. I think exiling the spell piercer is wrong.
I think they're just trying to keep Delirium as closely as possible. They're a little more interested in exiling Instance.
Yeah, so that's fine. I just mean because we still have our Mystic Sanctuary, correct?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we haven't used the Sanctuary yet. I love that the mana bases are so interesting. You only really have room for one Mystic Sanctuary in this build because of the woodland.
Mm-hmm. Are they putting
You need
the
a lot of blue mana.
Are they putting the Mistfall? The Mistfall, whatever, the Tarkirian?
Yes, one copy.
Okay. Yeah, this has to be a very kills mana base then.
All right, no show and tell.
Brainstorm and Fetch.
No abrupt decay, no way to deal with a bobble. That's really what they were digging for.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like they're going for some dig. Oh, land mana drain. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think they have to take the mana drain here, so they don't use the.
Yeah, I think they have to take the mana drain, and the argument was Wilver brainstorm.
Mm-hmm. Matter of how what's it called? How aggressive you want to be in it.
Yeah, because if you take the brainstorm, you get to dig for another land or your answer for bobble. But it is risky because you can just miss outright.
The problem with brainstorm is we wouldn't have a fetch yet, so we could just get.
I don't think he can counter this.
I don't think so either. I also don't think it matters at this point. We have the omniscience. We got the mana drain. Like we need to functionally find an answer so we can show and tell an omniscience and answer a Belcher.
Yeah. So Belcher can come down this turn, but Karai can't activate it unless they have land ritual Belcher.
Mm-hmm. They also can't they can't what's it called? No, somebody has to draw a hand.
Right. All right, there's the Belcher.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they don't have enough. They don't have enough mana.
They can't mana drain, correct?
Yeah. I what's it called? Missed that one.
Dig? They do have 9 on the crackback by copying Atraxa.
Mm-hmm. They can dig. Do we
Cry might have been trying to sneak this through, and I'm so scared Cry has Swamp Dark Ritual here to activate the Belcher.
Mm-hmm.
Force might be better. Grip is a little safer. It takes out the Bobble, but Force takes out Belcher and Bobble.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're paying all 4. Bob holding up the Abrupt Decay too.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't stop a Belcher. I might Abrupt Decay the Chrome Mock. That means that there's no way for Karai to land Ritual Belcher here.
That's fair.
Oh, they went for the Flute over the Bobble. I guess that means that they are planning to Abrupt Decay the Bobble later.
They're also just unlocking their mana, right? So that it's actual spell.
I love that Force of Vigor makes the cut in these decks.
I was explaining to Andrew about the great Wizards Rockets.
Yes. We've come so far from Chromatic Sphere.
We used to play so
As
many
the Abrupt
copies
Decay.
in the Golgari version of that effect.
Bobble becomes a fresh card, and Cry has to know that this is the turn going to happen or it won't.
Mm-hmm.
Game 3 is very close either way. They can 2-mana dig here. I almost passed.
I think it's interesting here because if you hit show and tell off of this, you can freeze show and tell here and probably win the game.
Like, I'm Karai and I'm keeping 4 cards in hand, but not countering any of the spells that kill my artifacts and enchantments. Then I'm holding Dark Ritual Belcher.
Well, he doesn't have any counter spells. He's not playing.
Yeah. Then I'm holding Dark Ritual Belcher. Like, Karai hasn't played a land.
Mm-hmm. That's the weird part.
Like, I'd be so scared of losing to my own show and tell.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He only has 2 mana right now. So, like, well, I guess, yeah. But Dark Ritual, yeah, I get
Yeah, I'd be so scared of Dark Ritual and Charbelcher. But it looks like Dredge is fearless. Let's see if his gamble pays off. He does get to respond to the Belcher activation.
It would feel very bad to have that happen twice in one game, in one match.
Oh, look at him. He's really taken. Making the attack first is a good idea.
Are you going to do it? He's not going to.
Yes. I respect that so much, though.
It's the smart play, don't get me wrong. But the content play, okay?
Ooh. I don't think I drain this. I think I just dig.
Yeah. I don't think this matters too much when you're at 14. Well, this does scale down your clock, I guess. Because they kill in 2 tones right now.
Oh, yeah. We do have lethal next turn if we can get to Delirium, because there's an Atraxa in the graveyard for the Shifting Woodland to copy. There's a Veil of Summer, but we'd rather get it out now. Yeah, you don't want to target your opponent when they have Hexproof from black. Or they're about to. Oh, wait, you can't target your opponent because they have Hexproof from black.
Guff was trying to tell us this man to cheat.
We do still get 3 mana. Just because the spell can't be countered doesn't mean we don't get 3 mana. We're 1 mana short of casting the Omniscience off that mana drain.
Yep.
Waterlogged Teachings can go get an Orcish Bowmaster to take out the Trawler and attack for 5.
Oh, fun
but
fact.
I think I would Brainstorm first to try and draw the 3rd Bowmaster.
So, fun fact for those who try to pick up one of these decks on Arena. When you're playing both Mana Drain and Dig Through Time. There is no way not to use the Mana Drain mana. Even if you go full control, it automatically adds it to the mega.
That's really funny.
I love Arena,
but you can't flow colorless.
But except
that is a really good play because they get to hold priority after Show and Tell resolves.
Mm-hmm.
So even if Karai magically got 3 mana, wouldn't be good enough. And that should be game. And Karai could put in exactly Vexing Bauble. But Dredgelord can cast it. I think that Dredgelord was actually looking for a line to get the kill the fairway here.
Mm-hmm.
But instead he just found the infinite combo off the top. I think this is where you jam Show and Tell.
Yeah. There's no risk.
But he does not agree. I can get behind this, playing extra safe. Like, he's sticking with plan A.
I don't think it's even playing extras. What are we afraid of? Force of Vigor?
Yeah, but you get to play all your spells in response to Force of Vigor. I think I would have gotten behind this play if Dredgelord had 1 more land in play just to hold up that Croson Grip.
Mm-hmm.
But this 4 extra mana does let him Show and Tell with a lot of extra play pattern available.
I mean, we can just hard cast Omniscience now, right?
That was an option. All right, here's Omniscience. What does Karai have? Nothing.
Wild. Is it no, it's not Force of Vigor.
There's the Hullbreaker Horror.
Yep.
That should do it.
Yeah, that's just game now because now you can use the Bowmaster and spells to find a second Bowmaster.
Yeah, he can even win it fair by just blinking his Bowmaster 3 times.
4 times. Because you have to kill the
so he just has to kill the Trawler.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. And
passing off missions for the simple pleasure of bouncing a Bowmaster. Bargain has been a strong performer in this deck all day.
Mm-hmm.
I really like it. Once the Atraxa comes down, it's so hard to whiff off your Omniscience loops.
Well, you just don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. You hit a
You can
spell.
hit 10 lands. It could happen.
Okay, you hit 10
I had it
hands.
happen.
10 hands with no cards in hand.
Yes, I have whiffed my Atraxas before.
Scuffle, you need to be studied.
I have whiffed things you wouldn't believe.
I struggle to believe
Yeah,
there's a god.
this one's foregone.
Yeah.
As long as Atraxa hits at least one spell, or at least as long as Atraxa hits at least 1/3 of a spell, then it's over.
And then this is actually the last match of game one of the quarterfinals. This is the last one this spring. So once this is done, we'll be moving into the semifinals.
Awesome. So we're almost done with this whole event. This one went by fast.
Oh yeah. Why aren't all of you guys playing control? Come on. I want to see Jessica.
We had some control decks. They still finished pretty quick. Just a fast format.
Oh yeah.
Most of our rounds finished well under the time limit of 50 minutes, usually like that you usually see at paper events.
I think we
Even
only
with
saw,
all the
I think we only saw one. What is it called? One go even close to time.
that Arlo match, that was a good match too.
It was.